We're going to move now to talk about the upcoming elections. So the LGBT vote in local elections in Luxembourg, in national elections, and now in the upcoming June European elections is significantly increasing, probably due to the fact that more and more gays, lesbians, non-binary people are coming out and feeling comfortable about that. What do you say to LGBT people who say, I'm not concerned about this? Why should an LGBT person go out, register, and vote?
I think the polls show it very clearly right now that there is really the risk of a far-right push for the next EU elections. And I think it's very important we tell the people the very concrete consequences. Marc mentioned now Hungary. What's happening really in the concrete life if a far-right party gets more power and even gets more power at the European level? So there is really the risk of a backlash on everything concerning LGBTIQ plus rights. And so it's more than ever, I think, important really to go and vote. Well, in some countries and in Luxembourg it is mandatory, but even though the consequences are not so harsh if you don't go. So it's really important to tell the people, if you don't want to live in a Europe where rights that we really have been fighting for are now diluted or even deleted, then it's now or never really to show that and to vote progressive, open, inclusive politics and politicians that really fight that we have still work to do even on this rights, and not that we go backwards again.
I would tell them, certainly Europe is not perfect, but let's make it perfect more. Let's make it better together, and do not let those people rule Europe who want to destroy Europe, who want to destroy this perfect, wonderful project. And I give you an example. What happens when far-right people are in power? Look at Italy. Prime Minister Meloni, what did she do? What happens to lesbian couples who have kids together? Well, the non-biological mother is erased in the birth certificate. That's cruel, that's horrible. Imagine if the biological mother has an accident, dies, or has cancer and dies, then the other mother has no right of this child anymore. And these are things they are trying to scapegoat the LGBTIQ plus community, to scapegoat them, to divert from other problems they have, to divert from corruption, to divert from mismanagement in their governments. Exactly. And what is also dangerous is there is a whitewashing of this far right. In more and more countries, the center-right parties are in coalitions with them without problems, and this is very worrisome. And there's parties in the European Parliament from the far right and from the very conservative groups where members officially burn rainbow flags, where members talk about the rainbow mafia. I mean, that's language which is terrible and which is even insulting, and it hurts when you hear that. And therefore, there is a reality. They are not afraid to use very harsh languages against us, and and the danger is when politicians, leaders in countries of political parties, use this anti-LGBTI language, use hate speech. We know what follows. After hate speech comes often hate crime, and we don't want a Europe with hate crime. We want a Europe of hope, of love, and that's the Europe we want, and therefore people should vote. And I always tell, you look what happened in Britain in 2016 during the Brexit referendum. A lot of young people who were very pro-European, they didn't go to vote, and what was the result? They are now the victims of it. So please, the many non-Luxembourgers who live in our country, you have the possibility also to vote here. If you are if you have an EU passport, you can register here to vote here, or you vote for your home country. But please go and vote. It's so important. It's about democracy.
Absolutely, it is. And the deadline is April, sometime mid-April this year. Now we're going to gate up a little bit. We're going to get out of this sturdy, heavy menu to a lighter version. So, as elected officials, much of the meaning in your life comes from your job. How do you balance this with your personal life? What is left of your personal lives?
Yeah, I mean, it is not easy when you live. I mean, Marc and myself, I always say I feel a little bit like a nomad. I live between 3 cities, Strasbourg, Brussels and Luxembourg. Most of the time, indeed, in Fridays, I work here. But for private life, especially as my wife now also has a lot, is MP here in Luxembourg, has also a lot of, is committed in the municipality of Pétange, so has a lot of responsibilities too, and then her job still going on. It's really hard to find moments where we say, okay, now we take really some time for us, so we discuss, so especially now the upcoming elections. But I think it's very important to find those moments. It's really about putting on quality. We know that there is not a lot of quantity, but at least that we have some quality time with the dogs, with our families, also with my daughter together. I think that's very important to resource ourselves and just to come out of this bubble we are running now even more and more. So to find that time, but I found it quite challenging. I don't know, Marc, you, but
well. It's not easy for the partner of a politician, but I'm very lucky. My husband is a fantastic guy, and he supports me very much. He's very patient. He brings me down always, and it's good. And when I'm in Luxembourg, I have quality time with him, and we have this agreement during the week. My agenda is organized by my office, by my life as Vice President of the European Parliament. I have a lot of official things also. I have to do my political work in the Parliament, in the party also. But then on the weekends, it's he organizes our private life, where we go to dinner, which invitations we accept, which movies we're going to see, which restaurant we're going to go in for out, or what I'm cooking though, but he organizes the private life, and this gives me a wonderful balance, and I'm very proud of him. About what he in his career, he's proud of me, and we're supporting each other, and this is what counts. We're there for each other. We only see each other on the weekends now, but that's life. But when we see each other, as Tilly said, we have quality time, and that's also very important. But it's good to know that you have somebody who loves you back home, and on whom you can count, and that's wonderful. Yeah.
I want you now to think of a man, a woman, a gender non-conforming person that you wish to see on a probable potential European banknote. Who would that be?
no,
That's a difficult question.
That's a difficult question. Yeah, on the banknote especially. I mean.
I have a friend in Budapest. It's Vicky. She's the organizer of Budapest Pride, and she's very strong and very, very committed, and a fantastic person. And in this difficult environment, she's able to organize wonderful prides, and she doesn't only organize the pride, but it's a whole political movement also with conferences. And she's, for me, one of the heroes. She's young, committed, and Vicky from Budapest Pride would be wonderful on a European banknote.
I must say, I'm also thinking, even though she was not in my political party, I have a lot of respect, like, for a person like Colette Flesch.
Yeah.
I think she, not only she was very pro-European, but she was, for me, one of the first women where my parents, where everybody knew that she's in love with a woman. She did not hide that. So for me, I thought she broke some barriers by just saying, okay, I'm in love with a woman, and that's perfectly okay. So
Coming out is tough for all of us. Staying in the closet is even tougher. Do you remember the first person you came out to?
It's difficult.
I do. Forcément, I do remember. I was married to a wonderful man, and I fell in love with a woman. So at one moment, and he was the first I was telling that I fell in love with a woman. That was not an easy moment. But I think what really make that we are still very good friends today is that I talked to him pretty soon, and I said I have there a problem, even though I was, if you can say it's a problem when you are very in love, but it was a problem in that sense that I was married to a man, and that for me it was clear there was no going back. I wanted to be with that woman, and I'm still with the same.
I remember when I told my dad when I was 17 that I was gay, he said, "No worries, I know that for a long time." As I said, I was very lucky coming from a very progressive family. My father was the founder in the 60s of the family planning movement, and so very open. He was a doctor. So I was lucky. I was really lucky also in my high school. And we had a meeting. Your sister was there with me in the last high school years. And I told them the other day, last weekend, I told them, actually how lucky I was to have been in 1981 in a class in Luxembourg in the high school being accepted as being gay. I was never bullied, and so I kind of was very lucky because I was very natural with it. I never said I'm gay. I said this is my boyfriend, this is my partner. So and this is what it should be. You know, I always ask when somebody asks me this question, I ask, do you ask a straight person, when did you tell your mother you're heterosexual? Or when did you tell your father you're heterosexual? No. So coming out should be past history of the last century, and now just live your life, be as you are, love who you are, and this is how it should be.
Tilly, what word do you love the most?
Tolerance. Acceptance.
Marc.
Oh, yeah. Happiness.
Tilly, what word do you detest?
Abus de pouvoir, misuse of power, when you use your power to do bad things.
Hate.
What sound do you love the most?
The sound of music.
I like when my dogs are laughing. I don't know how to express it, but when they are happy, they come with a very specific sound. It's like they are laughing.
What's your favorite drug?
Drink.
Drug.
A drug.
Drug.
Alcohol, coffee, work, sex, whatever.
If sex is a drug, maybe why not sex? Or a good glass of red wine here.
I think my passion is kind of a drug too. I need to be passionate about people, about causes. It's like a drug for me. I need that.
What job would you have hated to do?
Minister of Education.
I don't know how to say
No,
it.
I'm kidding. No, that's a difficult job. That's why maybe or school, because I was teacher, and it's you know, what would I would have hated? No, as I said, I don't like the word hate. So there is you can make something good out of everything. So there is no job I would have hated. In every job is good, and in every job, if you like to go every morning to your work, that's the most important. So in every job there is good things, and in every job, even if you like it, there is difficult moments. So
I'm always wondering how the people, I don't know the name in English, when people don't pay their rent, when they don't pay their bills.
Huissier de justice.
Voilà.
In French, huissier de justice.
Where you have to go to ring at the people and tell them, okay, we need to take out your furniture, you need to move out of this apartment. I'm always wondering how do they support doing this job? I found it so hard. Probably, I'm aware probably somebody has to do it, but I always say, how can they do that? I found that is something I could never do.
Marc, if you were to be reincarnated in an animal, plant, or a tree, what would that be?
I was a dog person before I had a cat, and now I became also a cat person. So either a cat or a dog.
Well, I love every animal, from the spider to... But if you really ask me what would you like to be, I would like to be a bird. I would like to fly.
Okay, and my last question to you. If you were a believer, if you believed in God, for example, what would you expect this God to tell you once you're dead?
I would like that he would just tell me, you did your best.
Yeah. Exactly the same. Thank you for what you did, and maybe you could have done better. I would accept that, But yeah.
That brings us to the end of this interview. Tilly, Marc, thank you so much for your time with us.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for the great work you do in the Rainbow House. And it's so good. I see all this progress here in Luxembourg, and it makes me happy.